Using the Data 1 tab in the Pivot Data raw file, I want to do something interesting. I have a whole bunch of birth dates here, and I want to do some sort of an age study, meaning baby boomers, are they at a higher potential to retire early? And if so, maybe how many am I going to lose? Is it possible that I'm not getting enough younger people coming in so that they can be developed to fill up the more senior positions in the future? Let's have a look. It is very difficult to work with just a list of dates because dates in fact have three components. There's a day, a month, and a year, and they're not based on metric. There's like 24 hours in a day, 60 minutes, 60 seconds, there's 365 days in a year, and we don't really even know how many average months, days in a month. Is it 30, is it 31, is it 28? It doesn't matter. Excel knows all this. So we're going to click on inside the data, we're going to click Insert Pivot Table, okay. And let's see, what do we need to know to answer this question? We need to know the number of people, right, which is first name, last name. Put it in box 1. So out of these 365 people, when were they born? So let's take date of birth, put it in box 2, and we see all the different dates that my employees reported as their date of birth and the number of people in it. And I'm just going to scroll down. Let's see. So on this date, there were 2 people that were born. All right. So let's take a look. If I right click on one of the dates and go to group, I can now tell Excel, take that date and group it somehow. Now, am I looking to group by months? Well, let's see. This tells me all the different months that my employees are born, and you can see some sort of a pattern here, right? November seems to be a very popular month. That's not what I want. So I'm going to right click on one of the months, go to group again, get rid of months, uncheck it, and go to years. And by the way, don't use this up at the top, okay? It's broken. Just try to do the months, years, quarters as you need them. So let's go to years, click OK, and it tells me every single year that my employees are born, which is quite interesting. And normally baby boomers would be 1964 or before, but I'm going to say 1960 or older. And let's go like that. And I'll just make that a different color just for interest's sake. Now let's take a look. Out of 365 employees total, let's add all these up. So highlight the numbers, look down in this corner, there are 162. That's a lot of people. Okay, let's do a small equation. 162 divided by 365 total employees, that's a lot. I have 44% of all of my employees, a little more than 44, who could potentially retire any day, or certainly within 10 years. And unless I have a proper training development, organizational development, and succession plan in place, I'm going to be caught off guard because take a look. I really don't have too many younger employees working. There's only 113 pushing in. So I need to develop this group here to take over these jobs, especially if they're highly skilled jobs that are hard to find. Now, a more visual way of looking at the same question is to insert a pivot chart instead of a table. So we're going to click on pivot chart, and it'll do almost the same thing, except you get this extra chart box here. So I'm going to move it down, and I'm going to stretch it out as much as I can, make it as big as you can, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing I did before. So let's take last name, first name, put it in box 1, and that's going to tell me the total number of people. I'm going to put date of birth in box 2, and because we already grouped it before, it'll stay grouped, and it shows me a graph. And you can clearly see a pattern. This area here, 1960 and before, there's a large segment of our workforce population pushing out, and there are in fact fewer younger people pushing in. And there are some people in the middle here who can take over the senior jobs, but not quite enough. Now let's actually add another element to it. We want to see if there's a gender disparity in this case. So I'm going to take gender and put it in box 3. And you're going to get the reds represented by males and the blues by females. And I do see, look at this, the older workforce, there are way more males in it. And in fact, we're recruiting a lot more females on average at the younger age segments. And that's, I think, an opportunity for us to reach out to educational institutions and maybe specifically train these employees to work for our company. Kind of visual way to look at this. And if you actually go up to the layout, format, and analyze tabs, you can actually put boxes and all sorts of different arrows in here to indicate your data.